Okay, hi. So I'm into the midterms. Oh, this structure I'm in kind of echoes, so you're going to get an echo effect. I wanted you to see this pretty. This is across the street from my law school, Bowen, and this is a nice park. They have that pretty fountain. Anyways, I'm going to walk towards the fountain. Oh, now I'm going to get out of the echo and into the sun. Well, a little sun's good for someone. Get some vitamin D. So I was just taking a walk because I got to school early and tried to beat the traffic. And I was listening to Professor Dale, Prof. Dale. He does real estate law, and I suggest that you listen to him. He really makes it simple. We just got done with present and future interests, and it sounds like a bunch of gibberish when you're walking around in the library, the study areas where people are allowed to talk. You just hear people going, but was that a present interest subject to condition subsequent or precedent? And then the future interest being defeasible or a contingent vested remainder? And it's like, what the hell are they talking about? And even after learning what all these words mean, or not learning, but being told what they mean and reading it in the book and maybe listening to a lecture in class, I was still, what the hell are they talking about? But today it clicked. So this is happening a lot lately. Things just gel all of a sudden. So all I can say is read the book, listen to lectures. The YouTube videos, lectures are great. You miss out on the opportunity of intercourse with that sounds terrible, intercourse with the professor, but discussion with the professor. So that's missing, but just keep reading it and then going over it again. Maybe find some online flashcards or online exam questions, and that have the answers so that you can guess, make an educated guess, and then check yourself. So yeah, once it clicks, it's like, okay, so there's a present interest. So O conveys, he's already conveyed, or he's at the moment he's conveying, he conveys to A. So now A is getting something, that's a present interest. And then let's say the present interest is a life estate, which means that A gets to live there or use the property for life. And when A dies, something happens to that property, because it usually doesn't just go to the state. I guess there might be certain conditions in which it would, but we try to find the heirs. If he dies intestate without a will, there's certain heirs. But if you convey it, and in the conveyance, you can say who, well, you could give a specific person that you're going to grant it to after A dies. If it's just from O conveyed to A for life, period, then when A dies, it's a reversion to Wait, now I'm confused again. So there's reversions and remainders. So I think, and I'm going to go look this up, but I think that if it goes back to O, that would be a reversion. But if I know that if it's then to B, then it's a remainder. So B gets the remainder. So there's reversion. If it's going to go back to O, it could be one of three ways. One is if A dies. One is if there's a contingent, like if it's subject to contingent subsequent. So if it says from O to A, unless, or, yeah, but if A starts growing marijuana on the property, then back to O. Well, I guess they would say that's not a very good way of saying it. Maybe if it's from O to A, unless A starts growing marijuana on the property, then, okay, that would be, if you just left it there, it sounds like that's going to be subject to, or subject to condition subsequent. That's what that sounds like. Well, I'm showing you, this is really mind-boggling. It shouldn't be that hard. I'm going to go back and study some more in the library, and if you have nothing better to do with your life, no, really, it is important. And everybody should know this. You could go to an attorney if you can afford one. And maybe that's why they always suggest people go to attorneys. But even just to have a basic concept, even if you're going to get an attorney to tell you how to do this, not all attorneys get an A+ on the exam. Like, I'm probably going to get through school, but I might get through school and never really understand this present and future interests, because obviously for some reason it's not sinking into my little brain. But, there's other attorneys who get through school and they're really not, like, understanding certain things. Hopefully they don't go into, like, this kind of estate law and still not have a concept. But who knows? Maybe their mom and dad were estate attorneys and they're passing on the practice, and the kid really is not that bright, but he got through school, and he got through school with a C+. And so you want to know what all of this means, at least to know that it's available, like to know that you don't have to use a trust. You could just convey property that isn't just that simple conveyance of, I convey my property to my son, or I convey my property to the buyer. You could put conditions on it. So I convey the property to my oldest son, or I convey the property to both my sons. But if one of my sons dies before the other, then the survivor's interest increases. So that might be one way you want to do it. But, you know, just to know that it's available to you and you can talk to your attorney about it. Hopefully you get a good attorney who understood this better than I did. And I'm not giving up yet, though. I'm going to go back and study. So, nice chatting with you.